Hey everyone, welcome. This is Kyle Keller, and I'm Tom Wood, and our series of Red Shirt interviews continues. So I'm excited about this one. It's going to be.
Thank you.
I reached out to Kyle and said, "Hey, can I interview you?" And he goes, "Yeah, but you know what? I don't want to talk about sales. That's boring. Because I'm going to talk about the good stuff. So we're going to get into what you're passionate about, real estate investing."
Yep.
So, but we started a lot of these interviews. We want to know more about you. Tell us a little bit about you and your family.
Okay, so again, Kyle Keller. I've been investing in real estate since 2004. Got licensed in 2001. Met my wife in high school, actually, and in Spanish class in freshman year. Didn't actually reconnect until we were 21 years old, right around the time I got my license. Been married since 2005 to Monique. Have a great relationship with her. We have two kids, Cade and Sienna. So my son is 10 and my daughter is 13. So I officially have a teenager this year, which is scary. And then my parents, they're on my team. So it's awesome working with my parents. They've been with me now since 2005. And a lot of people think that, they got their license first and I followed them in, and it was the other way. But can trust my parents, obviously, and they take great care of our clients, and it's fun to be able to work with them all the time. So
It's great.
yeah.
What about private real estate? What did you do?
So I was actually waiting tables at Chili's, and then I was waiting tables at Outback. And you guys know Brandon and Hal. So you guys know Brandon. So me and Brandon worked at Outback, and we were like, hey, let's go get a real estate license, and we were talking about it. And went to real estate school, got our license, and that was back in 2000. I was actually going to school to get my bachelor degree in just regular business, and I remember sitting in the library in between class, reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and basically decided to quit going to school. So decided to get my real estate license, and then I never went back. I did finish and got my associate's degree, but never went back to school.
That's a great story. So I kind of feel like we're interviewing two Kyle Kellers here. Kyle Keller, the real estate agent. Kyle Keller, the investor. So let's start with you, the agent. What year? Well, first of all, what made you decide to get your real estate license?
So when I was a little kid, my parents used to always take us to look at model homes way back in the day. So I don't know if something subconsciously made me like real estate, but I always liked real estate. It's one of the biggest investments that people make in their life, and there's also good money that you can make. I was very motivated by making money, so that was one of the other reasons why I got into it. Liked helping people. You're in the service industry, helping people, and then there really is no cap on what you can make, right, in real estate, and that's what I liked. I didn't want to be in a job where you work as hard as you can for however long, and you can only make this much. Like that you have the opportunity to make however much you want, and for next year, 2022, we're all guaranteed to make zero, right? We don't have this is what you're going to make next year, and it's a little scary to be in that position, but we just have to budget our money differently than other people.
Exactly. So you got your license in 2005 then?
2001.
2000. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's funny. I've through the years, I've seen so many people who've come out of being servers at restaurants and really excel in the business. It's still another form of service. And I remember trying to recruit for 3 years this lady that she waited on us. We do family night at a pizza place. I said, Kathy, you need to get into real estate. You'd be great. The tips are bigger. It's only 3%. And she did. I think she got into 6 figures her first year. She bought a new Lexus for herself, and it can change your life. So
Nice.
Anyway, so tell us about your early years. So you got in 2001. What happened in your business the first year or two? By the way, you graduated class from real estate school that year. Pretty impressive. You and Brandon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think my first year I didn't make any money the first 6 months, so I made nothing. I think that year though I did close 6 deals and made maybe $34,000, which working at Chili's I was making less than $12,000. So it wasn't Luckily I was still able to live at home when I was 21, and I didn't have a family. I didn't have a wife at the time. It's a lot easier to not make that much money and be able to live and kind of grow a business than jumping in your mid 40s or 50s. And, it's a lot harder to do that. So luckily I was able to kind of build a business when I was younger. And then a lot of my friends were buying homes at that time. So And then obviously the market was kind of doing nothing, and then we know what happened, right? Everything went up, and I bought my first house in 2004, so we were 24 years old. Then we bought another house in 2004 in October, so we bought one in January, bought another house in October. That was right when the market was going to go crazy, and then we bought another house. So we bought like 3 homes in like a 14-month period. So, and then everything was great. We had about $400,000 in equity. You know, like there were 3 properties. I thought that was amazing at 25 years old. And then the market fell apart, and our $400,000 equity basically turned into negative $400,000 in equity. And then I was making the most money I ever made at 25, and then the market tanked, and I was making about half of what I was making. So I think I was making like 175, and I went down to 75,000. So that was not very fun. Me and my wife would sit up a lot and talk about, you know, what are we going to do? Trying to figure out ways to not be in that situation, and you know, luckily decided to stick it out. And back in the day, do you guys remember the REBC auctions?
Yeah, heard of them.
So like on a weekend, they'd have a big sign, and you know, say they're selling 900 homes on a weekend. And at the time, at my other brokerage, he had some bank-owned listings, and he needed you know, somebody to hold open houses. So me and my parents, on a normal open house, usually have what, like, I know my open houses, I'd have maybe 3, 5, 8 people. If you're like Sean Bell, you probably get 30 people into your places. No? But we had 180 different groups of people come through the open house in a 3-day weekend. And at the time, you know, it's like you couldn't find anybody to buy a house back then. There were 60,000 plus homes on the market. And, you know, so anyways, we ended up meeting. It's pretty hard to build a relationship with, you know, a lot of people when there's that many people coming through. I'd kind of start people's names as they signed in on their sign-in sheet and try to like make connections with as many people as I could. And luckily found a guy that I asked him if he wanted me to represent him down at the auction, and told him we needed a pre-qual form, and sent me over like a bank statement with $2 million in it. So I'm like, that'll work. And then I helped him buy a couple properties at the auction, and then we ended up partnering up and basically doing an LLC and flipping properties. We ended up flipping about 75 homes. So, yeah.
Yeah, good moral to that story for sure. So just a couple quick questions on the team still. What do you do? Like, what are you currently doing for lead gen? And what do you do religiously, like every single month, this happens?
So lead gen right now, I mean, I don't do like 2-3 hours of lead gen every day like I should.
Let me lead gen is anything that's going to get you business. It could be farming, it could be.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, our main business where we get everything is from our database. So, I mean, that's probably 90% of our business. And we mail out to our database, we do calls, we email people, we keep in touch on Facebook and stuff like that. But I mean, been in the business for 20 years, and I just have people, luckily, you know, thank God, just call me and say, hey Kyle, we want to buy, we want to sell. And that's pretty much where most of my business comes from. I mean, HomeLight, we do get some stuff from HomeLight. I used to advertise on Zillow and stuff like that, but that was a while back, and you know, referrals are the best way to go, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. You fill that database.
Yeah.
Fill it full. So when I reached out to you, you said, you know, I really don't want to talk about sales. I want to talk about investing. And then you said, I'm going to send you some stuff. So you sent me some very impressive information, including like where you currently sit. So you own currently how many properties?
Yeah, so right now we have 18 properties and then 17 rentals. So we have one primary residence. And then we have a 13-unit building in Kansas that I own 50-50 with Dave Olson, who used to be out of the Arrowhead office. So that's kind of our real estate portfolio right now.
And about how much is it the market value, would you say, currently?
So market value on everything is right around $7.5 million. And then equity position right now is like around $4.6 million, somewhere around there. So, you know, luckily the last couple of years have gone up quite a bit. And, the nice thing about having a portfolio like that, at 7.5 million, if the market goes up 15% or something, your net worth essentially goes up almost $1 million. Not doing a whole lot. I put in a lot of time and effort over the years to get to that point. And it didn't happen overnight. It's like a lot of, it wasn't sexy at the beginning. You buy my property and then you're making $300 a month, right? And that's not that much money, but you just kind of keep doing it over time and you build up a good portfolio. So, if you can delay gratification, I think that's where it starts. But I think you were going to ask how I first got into like my first rental, or
yeah, you bought 3 houses, owned nothing, and then in 14 months you owned 3. So how did that all happen?
Yeah. So the thing at the time was, and I think it's the best way to get into real estate or investing, anyways, is if you guys have a primary resident right now, you guys could buy another property for essentially 3.5% down if you can get an FHA loan or maybe 5% loan, versus buying an investment property outright and putting down 20% or 25%. So if you have a good property that you can turn into a rental, buy another property, and that's what I did when I first started. That's how I got my first 2 rentals. They were basically both primary residents.
Very, very cool as far as getting started. So you must have had an itch at some point to want to, like, what motivated you to say, hey, we own this house, however, let's go buy another one, move into that one, get this one out. What was behind that?
At the time, we bought our first house out in Surprise, and I was kind of driving back and forth all the time. It was honestly just too far distance-wise, so we moved back over to 67th in Happy Valley and lived there for like 3 months, and then there was another new build community right down the road. And at the time, things were going so crazy that it was kind of, it'd be stupid not to put my name in the next drawing. And that was back when they were doing drawings, and there was 600 people out there getting drawn for lots. And we ended up getting picked 3rd out of 10 people for a lot. And so we're like, well, I guess we're moving again. And like I said, that was great. The house went up about 100,000, went up to like 435, and then it went all the way down to 150. So that was fun.
Yeah. It's funny, I'm thinking, like, as a showing agent, right? How many houses do we show? Not as a realtor, we walk into a model home and go, these are really nice. I'd like to buy this one. And then you go to the next one. I'd like to buy this one. You actually did that, right? You bought 3 houses in 14 months.
Yep. And then, when we were flipping homes, we started in 2010. I had a friend at the time who he actually told me that he'd have me come over. He had a spreadsheet of 9 different homes that he did. So it showed like what he bought them for, how much he put into them, what they sold them for, and how much money they made. And I said, hey, can you send me your spreadsheet? I'd love to take a look at it. I sent it to my investor guy and told him, hey, here's my friend. This is what he's doing. And, I think we could join an LLC together. You be the money guy. I'll find the homes and everything and fix them up. And then split it 50-50. And he said, deal, let's do it. So, at the time I had never flipped a home before. I had no idea how to do it. But, he believed in me, and I was honest with him that I didn't know, how to flip a house. But our first 2 deals that we did, we each made $40,000. And so that's a good way to start off a partnership, right? And not be in the red. So after that, like I said, we flipped like 75 homes over the last probably 10 years. So it wasn't like we did 75 in 2-year period. But I saved up all that money from 2010, 2011, and then in 2012, I finally started buying properties with that money. And then have been buying properties ever since. So.
And now, obviously, the buy and hold versus the flips.
Yep.
Right. So you sent me a link to a podcast. It was like 45 minutes long.
Yep.
And it was really eye-opening. A lot of the fallacies that we have had ingrained from school, from parents, et cetera. Can you kind of share some of the fallacies that are contained in that?
So one of the things he talks about is being financially free is better than being debt-free. So there's a lot of people that it's a different mindset than Dave Ramsey. It's like pay off everything and have 0 debt. It's okay to have debt as long as it's, smart debt, right? Like real estate, you're able to leverage yourself and, get further with leverage. So he says something like, being in finance or debt free is lame. You have to listen to the podcast. I can send it to you guys, but not telling you as good as he does. But the other thing is that home equity has a rate of return of 0. So, people try to build up a lot of equity in their home, which is great. But, if you have, let's say, a $300,000 house and it goes up 10%, your home's now worth $330,000. It doesn't matter if you, owed nothing on it or if you owed $300,000 on it. It went up $30,000. So, and he says, home equity is illiquid, it's not safe, and has a rate of return of 0. So his question was like, how much money do you want to invest in something that's illiquid, not safe, and has a rate of return of 0? And when you look at it that way, I wouldn't want to put anything in that. So, anyways, it's a different mindset thing, but I'm happy to share with you guys.
He also brings up to using other people's money.
Yep.
Instead of leveraging your own money, leverage other people's money.
Yeah. So obviously, everybody has their own amount of money that they have. You're only going to get so far. If you are able to use other people's money, you could do, other people's money could be a bank loan too. It doesn't have to be, a friend or something like that. But you guys could get, if you guys have properties right now, one thing that you could do to get funds would be a home equity line of credit, where you're able to pull off, some equity off your home. You don't have to actually make payments on that unless you use the funds. I have a $100,000 personal line of credit that I got from a bank. That was pretty easy to get. And then you could do hard money or private loans. So I've done a few private loans. You got a lot of people right now that have money in like retirement accounts that aren't earning much money. They'd be happy to, lend you some money. Have to have a track record possibly. But like I said, if you have people that are willing to give you a chance,
In a case like this, you got the collateral. If someone wanted to risk, would not branch at risk, right? They lean against one of the properties and lending the money.
Yeah.
So I do love the idea though of going and finding somebody who's got deep pockets, like your friend about $2 million, and you've got the knowledge and willing to do the grunt work.
Yeah.
And go that way. And that's a great way to go. Are there people? Would there be a way for somebody in this room to find somebody like that?
Yeah, obviously you could check with family would be one, friends would be one. You guys could, talk to other agents. If you guys know other agents in the office that are doing investing, I know Sean Bell does. Greg has some rental properties. So, you guys could always partner up with somebody that you know. That'd be a good opportunity as well.
So you also sent me something, Burr.
Yeah. Do you guys know the Burr strategy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you taking my notes?
Yeah, so it's B. Yeah, Burr strategy, it's B and then 4 R's. So buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. And essentially, if you do it the right way, if you put money into a property, you can basically fix up the home and refinance out of it and get your initial investment back. And then you can kind of recycle your funds from that deal into the next one, to the next one, and keep going, because obviously, again, you have a limited amount of capital, buy a couple rental properties, then you have to wait for a while to save up money. It's a way to kind of keep building up your portfolio faster. But the idea with that, to have a successful Burr deal, you need to have your rehab and your purchase price and your rehab be 75% of whatever the after repair value is.
Say that again?
You have to have your purchase price and repair budget, that total needs to be 75% of the after repair value.
So you've got 25% equity when it's fixed up.
Yep. And then so once it's fixed up and you get an appraisal, they'll give you 75% of whatever it's worth, and then you'll end up being able to get all of your money back, at that time. So I have done some deals, and again, if anybody's interested, I could email you guys out some stuff later today or tomorrow. And basically, it has a couple different real life burst strategy deals that I've done. And then there's other ones too that I wasn't able to get all my money back, but at least I was able to keep, get some money back. I left some money in the deal, but it was a lot less than what it would have been if I would have had to put all the down payment and all of the rehab funds in there. So,
So again, if someone wanted to get started today on the
Mhm.
first house, what would they do?
again, I would recommend if you guys already own one to turn that one into your rental. It's going to be your easiest thing to do. Again, otherwise you got to do 20 to 25% down on an investment property. And that would be the next option. There is another thing, basically I found that you can invest in real estate for as little as $50, which is new. It's like blockchain technology. You guys familiar with crypto or anything like that? He's shaking his head back here.
Yeah, Bill's shaking his head.
So there's Algorand. It's like a blockchain wallet that you have, and then there's a company right now called Lofty AI, and basically you can invest as little as $50. So they buy these properties and fix them up and everything, rent them out, and then they break down the whole purchase price in $50 increments. So you basically can buy one token for $50, or you can buy as many as you want. I've invested in 2 of those deals so far, so I put $1,000 in each one. I got 20 tokens of each property. I think they're both in Ohio, and but it's kind of a cool way I wanted to see, because we're seeing a lot of disruption in real estate. The iBuyers and kind of everything else. And I think blockchain technologies will be a big part of real estate at some point. It's not there yet, but I do want to kind of be on the front end of that and, be prepared for what's coming. But I just thought it was a cool way to be able to get into that at a low cost. Everybody has $50 to buy into a rental property. They pay you daily interest, like a daily return, which is pretty cool. And I don't know, it's just a cool new way to invest, So I have a couple other friends that did it, and I've only done it now. It's only been maybe a month. So it's not like something I've done for a long time, but I'm happy to share that stuff with you guys. I'm pretty excited about crypto right now too. So, not to change the subject of crypto, but.
Well, talking about crypto a little bit, just share. We went to lunch beforehand, and you just purchased what was the dad thing?
It was a NFT.
Anyone know that? Okay.
It's a non-fungible token. So it's basically, it looks like I bought a JPEG picture, and Sean could copy it and say, hey, I have the same thing, but it's not the same thing. I could actually sell mine where Sean couldn't sell. Nobody would buy the JPEG that Sean has. And they're also, like another podcast I heard, they're saying like, you could write a smart contract when you sell a property stating that whenever that property sells in the future, that you would get like 1% or 2%, not as a realtor, but as an owner. So that's pretty interesting. You sell a property and you keep making money down the road as the home sells several times. So that was another kind of use case. But yeah, that one picture I bought on Friday for $1,000.
This past Friday.
Yeah.
A week ago.
Has gone up to like $6,000, in a week. But I mean, I'm not saying like, do this and, you're going to retire, become rich off it. It's just something new that's, I'm getting into, and it is going to make its way into real estate at some point. I think all the title companies will basically be recording all the deeds and everything too on the blockchain. So pretty interesting.
And we kind of talked about too, would it be interesting, like maybe not right now, but maybe back in the spring, where you could have, if you were the seller, written into your agreement with the contract with the buyer that when you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, sell this house, you also have to pay me 1% of the purchase price down the road, and who knows what they would have done back then, right, to make that happen. So that whole, it's kind of an interesting concept that you can do with the crypto.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's see what we have here. Well, one thing I want to point out is you've all heard of the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, correct? In fact, Wendy Patton is in that book. Now, who did Gary Keller write that book for? Do you all know? I'm sorry? Yes, yeah. You wrote it for us realtors. There's a reason why we're called brokers, because most of us end up broke. And we end up in the process. Good example with your client, right? That had $2 million in the bank, and help them make even more money. We end up making other people wealthy through real estate. And we all know that real estate is one of the best investments for creating wealth. And we're letting it just sort of pass through our hands from a seller to buyer, but we get in the middle, in some cases, to come and invest ourselves. So that book is totally invaluable. But in addition to that book, what else do you recommend they read?
Rich Dad Poor Dad, like I said, is a huge one for me. It's more mindset. It's not going to really teach you how to do anything per se, but it's more of a mindset, understanding what an asset is, what a liability is. That Burst Strategy is a really good book. Compound Effect by Darren Hardy was a really good book. In that one document that I can send out to you guys, I have a list of other book recommendations and podcasts. So, how are you doing? Good, thanks. I would encourage you guys to, when you're driving around for appointments and stuff, instead of learning all the lyrics to the newest gangster rap songs or country music or whatever song listens to, country. Sure. Listen to podcasts and, real estate podcasts, investing podcasts. Have you guys heard of Bigger Pockets? I'm sure, right? They have great webinars all the time that you can watch. They're free webinars, how to buy your first rental property in 90 days. There's so much, resources and stuff that they have on that website. It's a great way to start learning the lingo and everything.
Absolutely. So when we were at lunch, you said to remind you to check your phone. So you guys have golden nuggets.
Well, I don't know if I might have forgot a couple things, but let's see. So one other thing, has anybody heard of the FIRE community? Or FI? He's shaking his head back here.
Financial Independence Retired.
Yeah. So that's another good podcast. It's called Choose FI. And, that's something that I've been trying to do my whole life, is try to get to financial independence. And I found that community, great community, and they kind of teach you all the different ways that you can, have a side hustle or just different things you can do. They say the average millionaire has 7 different income streams. So, that's the big question, right? Like, we're all realtors. If we stop selling real estate today, how much money is going to be coming in your bank account next month? It's a good question to ask yourself. When our income went down and we went through that crash, I never wanted to be in that position. Wanted to try to have passive income coming in that I'm not, physically working for in case I got injured or, whatever happened. But Warren Buffett has a good quote that says you need to figure out a, way to make money while you sleep, or you'll work until you die. So, and that's the thing. I just wanted to have enough passive income coming in to cover my expenses. I would say I'm at that point right now where it does, but it still doesn't feel like it's enough.
Do you mind sharing, as you do with me, what your current income is?
Yeah, I think, so the passive income off the rentals, it's around $15,400 a month. And then I have, the title investment deal. So we have that opportunity to invest in the title company. You guys close transactions, you guys get a part of that. That's another good income source of basically doing what you're already doing right now to make more money. Having rental income is good. We bought a trailer, a mobile home, first mobile home I ever bought, for $35,000 and fixed it up. We put about $35,000 into it and ended up selling it for $155,000, but I did a seller financing note and basically am the bank on that property. So for mobile homes, if anybody does mobile homes, an older property, you can't actually get financing for it. And so I was able to sell it, and I'm making more money now, basically being the bank instead of on a rental property.
You're charging interest as well.
Yeah. So I'm charging them like 7% interest, which sounds okay, but that was based off of a 155 number. But I have like 70 into it, and then he put down 15,000 So really my all-in number is 60,000, and when you figure out the numbers, it's almost like 20% is what I'm making on my money. So that's another income stream that we have, and so I'm just trying to continually add. Flips would be one, rentals would be one, title investment would be one, crypto could be one, but just think of other ways that you can bring money in without just your real estate job. Because if God forbid you can't do real estate anymore, or realtors aren't a thing anymore. All the iBuyers take all the business away, which could happen. I want to be prepared to, weather the storm. So
I know people too that have done a flip or two to cash out in order to get a down payment, put on a property that they're going to hold on to a long-term investment. So there's lots of opportunities. So I do want to, you talked a little bit twice about the market. We've got iBuyers, we've got 72 sold, which has anyone ever driven across the valley recently? I mean, they're like on every billboard. There's just a lot of things coming our way in our industry. What do you see happening right now? What do you see happening in 5 years, 10 years down the road in our industry?
I mean, I think we're always going to be, a part of the transaction. It's hard to say. You're seeing the commission compression already, which is not good. But one thing that I've done is when I do go on listing appointments, I am acting as an iBuyer myself. And I would recommend for you guys to do that, right? You guys go into a listing appointment and it's trashed, and you're going to put it on the market, or you're going to give it to one of your investor clients. Why not try to figure out a way to take down the property yourself instead of letting somebody else make money off it? Now, it's not going to always work out. Sometimes it's a conflict of interest, right? But instead of, you might be in a position where you can't buy it, but maybe refer it to a friend or something like that and let them take it down instead of somebody else. So.
And if you're with KW, we do have Keller offers as an option too. I think what you do to be fiduciary, because at the end of the day it's about being ethical, is to say, hey, if we put your house in the market as is, or if you fix it up, here are the values. However, here's another option. If you don't want to mess with any of that, I can help you take it off your hands.
Yeah. So, and then cost segregation. So you guys, how many people have rentals? I know Greg and Sean. Have you guys done cost segregation on any of your properties? No. So I can share that contact too. I did training with Brett Tanner and Brian Gubernick. You guys know who that is. They have metrics coaching. I did coaching with them and sat down with Brett. He basically told me, hey, with your properties that you have, I would recommend to do cost segregation on them. And what that entails, like your properties, you can your tax guy's going to depreciate your properties for you over a 27.5-year time frame. But like carpet, tile, windows, the roof, all these different components of the house have different lifespans. And so what they do is they do a whole different report and basically put everything together, and you can bring your depreciation up, so you're making more depreciation up front than you are over a long period of time. And I did that on like 12 different properties that I had. And I think I spent around $15,000 and got an $80,000 refund back. So, you'd rather have more money today than you would in 30 years from now because, the dollar's depreciating with all the inflation and everything. So if you guys do have rental properties, I would definitely recommend to do cost segregation. And I have a contact for that I can share. And one other thing I forgot was about the fire community. So when you go talk to financial advisors, usually, you tell them how much money you're making, and then they tell you you need to have like $15 million saved up. The thing is, an easier way to look at it would be basically figure out what your monthly expenses are, right? And then, start buying rental properties to get to that point. Basically just replace your expenses. And the fire community, their calculation is basically 25 times your expenses. So if you had $40,000 a year in expenses, times 25 would be $1 million that you would need to have in a bank to safely withdraw 4%. They did a Trinity study that said that you can withdraw 4% safely every year for like 30 years and not run out of money. Obviously, if you retire at a younger age, that could happen if we end up living to be 150 years old sometime. With technology or whatever, things could be different, but it's a good way to, not think that you have to get to such a big number to save up. Just start breaking down, what your monthly expenses are with your rental income, 300 a property or 400 a property. So,
Any questions?
When you were building your team, did you
Yeah.
follow MRAA?
no.
Okay.
No, it was basically just me for, a long time. And we have a small team, it's myself, and then my parents are both on my team. And then our full-time assistant, Elisa, who is awesome, and she's been with us now for about 6 years. But we have a small team, we like it that way. At some point we may grow. Ultimately I'd like to just basically be doing investments and not doing the day-to-day real estate stuff. Having a team doing all the regular retail transactions, but a lot of the deals that I come across from my clients and friends and stuff like that. So by being in it day to day, I'm getting opportunities where if I'm out of the day-to-day thing, I may not get those. So
You didn't take your parents through career visioning?
no, I didn't.
That's great. When you have a built-in team, right? I used to have that family printing company. It's a peace of mind knowing that everything's good for the family, or at least should be.
Right.
Good.
What other questions?
Yeah, I have several questions for you if you don't mind. So you're started off by yourself, right? And your name is Kyle Keller, and then your parents came along. Is your father's name Gary?
No, I wish. No. Funny thing, my mom actually did date a guy in high school named Gary Keller. And then my parents live on Williams Drive, so I don't know. It's meant to be, I guess.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, if I may, you've done all your investing in Phoenix area mostly. Is
Yeah, everything's here except that one building in Kansas.
a multifamily or is it commercial?
Multifamily.
So you're not into that kind of investing then?
I am. It's just a lot harder to get into. Multifamily here in town. It seems like a lot of the multifamily stuff here in town are not in the greatest neighborhoods, whereas in like Ohio and other states, like fourplexes are everywhere and they're in good parts of town. There's not very many places here in town that have awesome neighborhoods with, fourplexes or triplexes. So I have done some investments in syndications, so apartment syndication. Where I put $50,000 in an apartment syndication through my self-directed IRA. And then they ended up selling that after like a year. It was like a year and a half, and then that turned into 87.5. And I just rolled that into the next one. So that's, it's a way to get exposure to that, but I don't control it. I'm not really getting monthly cash flow from it.
Right.
I like the fact of having, rental properties to where if I wanted to sell one, I could sell it. If you have just one big apartment complex, for one, you're limited to who you'd sell it to.
Yeah.
And for two, if you needed money, it's not like you can sell off one unit or something like that.
Right.
I guess you could bring in partners, but I don't know.
So are you doing more flipping still, or are you holding a lot?
I'm trying to hold everything that, that comes across. I have done, flips and stuff, and it's great to make that money, but then, what are you gonna to do with it, and so I'm trying to, I get a property, I usually fix them up and do that burst strategy like I was talking about.
Yeah.
Fix them up and, just keep them as rental and just keep building my rental income. I'm trying to get to 20,000 is my number, I guess, on what I'm trying to get to rental income wise a month. We're at around 18,000 something a month right now with title investment deal and that note, and I have another note. I invested $100,000 with this company, and they pay out interest every month. We're getting $12.50 a month for that. So that's my personal line of credit. I pay like 6% loan on it, and I'm getting $12.50 a month, and so I pay like $400 or whatever for that cost. and I'm making $700-800 a month on that right.
Good. Yeah. So
So
it's mostly hold right now. You'd see a lot of appreciation. You're not going to cash in and do whatever. So because buying is tough.
yeah, and so that's where I'm at right now. I have a pretty big equity position, and I'm always trying to play defense because like I said, I had equity before the market fell apart.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out if I need to refinance some of my properties, pull some cash off the table. I just don't want to do the same mistake twice and have the market tank. And I mean, when COVID hit, I honestly thought the market was going down and, kind of pause and see what's going to happen. And, when they shut down Disneyland and canceled the NBA season and canceled school and, everything happens. I mean, the last thing you think is the real estate market's going to be on fire and the stock market's going to be on fire, but that's exactly what happened, So,
Strange. So 78 homes flipping, is that
it's around 75 homes.
So, can you tell me if 100% have been successful, or did you lose it?
Yeah, we only lost money on one property.
Awesome.
And I think it was like we each lost $1,800 or whatever.
Amazing. What did you learn from that mistake?
I mean, we just basically had too many expenses in that one. Most of the deals are like we would always try to aim for a 10% return, which isn't very high, honestly. And that's the same return I shoot for on my rental properties too, for a cash-on-cash return. There are times where I've had rentals that were only going to be like maybe 8%, and I decided to do it. And thank God I did, because the values have gone up and rents have increased a lot lately. For you guys that have rental properties, I hope you're bumping your rents on people.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So your BR, you want to be 75%. So that gives you that work. So you have a team that does your fixing for you? Then?
Yeah.
Is that how that works? So who estimates the cost of the repair?
I kind of estimate myself on kind of what I think just based on past deals that we've done and stuff. Yeah. But the contractor is the one that puts together all the bids. And I really try to be conservative with my offers, and also with, after repair value, conservative across everything, which is probably why, I don't get as many deals either. But I try to buy right up front, because if you overpay in the beginning or overestimate what you're going to resell it for, you can, that's where people get hurt. Yeah.
So how are you finding homes these days?
A lot of them are just listing appointments that I'm going on, and getting them that way. And then also I have a lot of people know that I do flip homes and stuff, so they'll say, "Hey, Kyle, I have this property that needs a lot of work," and get referrals that way too.
Very good. So these blockchains that you're doing, you have 2 investments of $1,000. What's your ROI on those?
I think it said the cash-on-cash return was like 6.7%. And then it shows an appreciation rate of 11%, and then said the IRR is going to be at the end of the deal is basically like a 17% ROI.
That's interesting.
So you get daily rent payments, but like I said, I've only done it for a month. One of the properties doesn't have a lease in place yet, so I'm not making money on that. I checked my account the other day, I have like $4 in there or something like that. So it's not. You can't expect to put in $50 and make $500 a month,
Right.
But it's a way to get in and, see how things work. You don't have to fix toilets or anything like that.
There's some of that, like in California, that you can invest in an online deal, and they eliminated Arizona as being able to do that. So the blockchain is something to do, I guess.
Like a crowdfunding or something?
Yeah, that was something like this before, but that's another word for that companies.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, so Lofty AI is that company, if you guys want to look it up.
What's it?
Lofty AI.
LOFTYAI.
Yeah.
So is all your stuff long term, it sounds like? All of your investment properties?
Yeah.
Have you done any VRBOs or short term stuff?
Yeah, so
about it?
we just actually bought a cabin in November or December. We just bought one in Pine Top. So we were looking at Flagstaff and Munns Park for a while. We like that area because it's only 2 hours from our house. And we went and stayed in Munns Park. We were going to buy in Munns Park and told my wife, let's go stay for like a month and see how it goes. And my wife said, let's just do 2 weeks instead of a month. And we did 2 weeks, and then we ended up actually leaving in 10 days. There's just not a whole lot to do there. We were always driving back to Flagstaff, and then we went and visited a friend who was in Pine Top. They had a property, and we fell in love with the town. There's more to do there. It's kind of like Flagstaff and Munts Park had a baby, basically. There's more to do than Munts Park, but it's not as big of a city as Flag. Property values were also less expensive. Property came on the market for $385, and during the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. I think people were off and not paying attention. I saw it right away, had my agent look through it. We offered $400 cash right away, and they accepted the deal in like 6 hours. We did put some money into it and everything, but could probably sell it for like $550, $600 right now.
How long
By
ago?
December.
Wow. Just last year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you have it now, you're renting it?
Yep, so we just got it on the market. We're using Evolve. If you guys have heard of that, but it's a good company for doing vacation rental management. You pay them 10%, for the service fee. But when you put your home on Airbnb or VRBO, you have to pay them a fee anyways. With Evolve, you don't have to pay that fee. They basically eat that fee for the 10%, and then they set us up with the cleaners. So we just went live like 2 weeks ago. I can send you guys the link if anybody wants to stay. We have
Send it to me.
5 bedrooms, 2 masters, so two king size beds. So it's good for couples.
Big.
Yeah, it's like 2,750 square feet, 3.5 bath, 2-car garage.
So you do weekly and monthly rentals or whatever?
Yeah, I think you can do. I think it's a 2-night minimum stay. But we just had our first 2 people stay at our place, so it's nice to actually have money coming in now instead of spending money on that place. But
Nice.
yeah,
So Munts Park, don't they have a golf course there?
they do. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah.
Pickleball? Pickleball.
On your other long terms, do you do all the property management, or do you pay property management companies?
So I used to do all the property management myself, and got to be too much. I'd constantly be going over there doing walkthroughs and trying to get people into leases and taking time away from real estate and finding deals and stuff like that. And I have everything over to Eric Sanchez.
Yeah.
So Eric Sanchez was a team leader over at KW that signed me on when I went over there. I started at KW in 2001, which wasn't as big of a company at that time. Everybody thought it was my dad's real estate company when I was 21.
That's awesome.
And then went to, I think, first USA and then DPR, and then came back to KW.
Nice.
So he does management for you, what about maintenance and stuff?
So they have a company called Upkeep Pros. And, sometimes there's, like, I got an estimate on renter moved out, needed all kinds of work. And, I have guys that can do stuff a little cheaper. And Eric's fine with that. Like, if you have people that can do stuff for less money, he's fine with, letting that happen. So
Eric's awesome.
What does he charge as far as a management?
I think his rates right now are like $150. It's like $150 per property per month.
$150 a month.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong, but double check with him. But it doesn't matter if it's $5,000 a month rental or $1,000 a month rental. It's just a flat cost.
Good.
Yeah.
Sure he gives you a deal too.
Maybe.
Well, as you build your portfolio, where are you going to stay in Arizona? Are you going to venture out anywhere else? What's your...
I'm always looking for opportunity. Alabama is a place that I've been looking at right now. There's a lot of industry going there. I think BMW just opened up a big plant out there. So Alabama is a place where we're looking. Huntsville, Alabama, specifically.
BMW in Alabama was just funny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I like investing here. California, you're going to get appreciation, but you're probably not making anything on cash flow. I'm buying for cash flow.
Right.
In Ohio, you can get good cash flow, but the properties don't appreciate as much.
Right.
And a lot of my net worth increase has been from appreciation. Cash flow is great for monthly cost and whatever, but you want to have the appreciation as well. But that was one other thing I thought about was make sure to track your net worth. You guys, anybody in here track their net worth? Yeah. So I definitely recommend to do that. That was one of the things that my business partner, he's an ex-banker, retired, and said, start tracking your net worth. And so when you buy a property and it goes up in value 50,000 or whatever, you don't really see that anywhere, right? Unless you're tracking your net worth. So people think I'm going to flip it and make 50 grand. Well, I mean, essentially you did make 50 grand. It's on your net worth statement and your net worth is going up. So figure out, even if you're negative, which I was negative, just get back to zero and figure out each day on how to continue to grow your net worth. So.
It's a multifamily in Ohio. Is it, what city in Ohio?
No, it's in Kansas. It's in Ellsworth.
Oh, Kansas.
So small little city. There's like 3,500 people there. And it was an investment opportunity that my friend Dave had and said, hey, what do you think about this? It was like an old people's home and assisted living facility. And it was basically going under, and we went in and bought it. We didn't have to do anything to it. And, I think we each make $2,500 a month on that. But we bought it for $250. It's a 13-unit building, and then it has a big 7-car detached garage. We had a big hailstorm or something came through there. We had to get a new roof. The roof was like $100 grand. It was like $120,000. Now we didn't have to pay for it. Luckily, insurance did. But we paid $250 for the whole entire property on like 3 acres, and the roof cost $100,000. Wow. So, they do have there's a prison there and a hospital. So those are like the two main employers there. Longevity of that project, though, I'm not sure, but cash flow is good right now.
Good.
So who's your clientele in that? Is it, talk about affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
So is that an affordable housing apartment? In Show, there's no place for people who work in Show to live. They just can't afford it. So have you looked into affordable housing projects at all?
No, I mean the ones in Kansas I think are rate on a 1-bedroom $695 and on a 2-bedroom it's $795. So rates, I mean compared to here, are a lot lower, right? But I mean it is a good opportunity. The hard part is real estate's so expensive, right? That if you're kind of trying to get lower income people to qualify for your properties, it's hard to spend as much money and only make this much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are opportunities where the government will give you tax breaks and stuff like that to do those projects, but I don't know. What about you?
I was looking to show up.
Yeah.
So there's, who Andrew LeBron is up there?
No.
So he bought 4 of the old hotels.
Okay.
Up there, and he's cash flow. It's crazy.
I did see, so are you, one thing I am on a lot of wholesale lists.
Mm-hmm.
So I am happy to share with you guys some of the people. I mean, I get properties all the time. I did see one in Pine Top that was a hotel, maybe like a 12, 13 unit building. Is that one that you saw? No?
Oh, I don't know. He just bought the Thunderbird there and then Pinecrest.
Okay, maybe it was a Minecraft, but it was like $500,000 for basically a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So
he did a 21 unit for $325,000.
That's
and
crazy.
He's at 100% occupancy on 21 units right now. And he's at $300 a week. And the motel business, you never have to evict anyone. He's still in the motel business. He won't sign a long-term lease, and he gets paid automatically.
Yeah.
If they don't pay, please come escort him off the property.
Nice.
Interesting.
That's
You should talk to him next time you're up there.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
I'll connect you.
Good kid.
I'll
He's
connect you
31.
on that. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, it's really just talking to people about, what you're doing, and then Greg brings up a, conversation, and, you never know where you're going to find your next deal, right? So.
The open opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Is he convert the motel? Is it a motel?
It's affordable housing. So there is no affordable housing in Showa. So that's what he's basically offering is affordable housing.
Okay, so
He has one lady that's lived there for 7 years.
they're
Seems crazy. Probably seems crazy to all of us, but it's not crazy to her.
Must be a high C.
It's a rich apartment.
I think it's interesting you made the, go ahead, Sean.
Have you ever dabbled in Section 8?
I have not done Section 8 on any of my stuff.
Do you know if that's a good or a bad program? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I haven't personally done it, so I don't really have any experience with it. I mean, the good thing is the government's gonna, always pay your payments, but
Affordable housing, right?
yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I've never done it. How about you?
No, but every time you put a house in the market, you get a ton of calls
Oh, yeah.
asking.
Do that numbers work for you though, Sean? Like the numbers never work. What they want to pay for a 1 or 2, 3 bedroom?
Well, I've never had, I think you have to qualify the house as Section 8 eligible, so I've never been able to offer it, but I'm not even sure, but they
Yeah.
seem to obviously pay on time, obviously from the government.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you get your house back at the end.
I just don't like having to deal with the government. I don't
That's the same.
So I'd rather not be involved.
But it's nice that the government's paying you, though, that's always
I
a good thing. So, I have a question, so we were talking about funds, your equity in your own home,
Right.
and it's illiquid, right, and it's not generating any income, but why did you say it's not safe?
Because the market can go down and basically wipe out your
It's like anything you own, yes?
right.
I think it's interesting you made the comment that here it is so true that the fourplexes are not very desirable areas, unfortunately. But they are in other parts of the country.
Right.
And I think we're going to see maybe a trend more toward that as rents get high.
Yeah.
And we're growing so quickly. Have you ever thought about, do you think there are opportunities for someone to come in and actually build brand new fourplexes or I know there are also small single-family cluster homes that are being built that are not for sale, they're for rent.
That's what they're doing now. Kyle, have you considered 1031ing half your portfolio into commercial for more stable rents?
I've thought about it, yeah. I mean, it seems kind of a nightmare to try to do that, but I have thought about doing a 1031 into bigger properties. I haven't found the right opportunity though to do that.
Yeah. One of my biggest clients, that's what he did, is they had a portfolio of 30 to 40 houses and they moved it. Then they 1031 it into commercial property.
Nice.
He's one of the biggest, acres and acres in downtown Denver.
So is he happy with his move?
He did contractor lots, is what his biggest money maker is.
Yeah.
Where they just rent, they have a couple acres and they provide the power and the fencing, and contractors have to store their landscape trucks, their paint trucks, whatever.
Interesting.
Secure storage for them at night, right? You can come park the truck, and then they go. So all their guys come park the trucks in the morning, take work trucks out, park work trucks at night, come back in. So then he has the buildings, and obviously when they first started marijuana, it was a big deal. So he's pretty heavily invested in that.
Nice.
But he's flipped buildings, they flipped one in Portland. In Portland, it was going to be a money storage, where the bridge trucks came in, and it turned out that those buildings are perfect for growing marijuana.
Nice.
And so they bought it for 1.3 and sold it 2 years later for 2.1. I mean, just stuff that if you're in the market, right?
Yeah.
Then you'll know. And he's always just looking at, he's looking at deals.
Yeah.
So they're in here very likely they had 4 or 5 rentals, but they bought a second home here, and that's getting $500,000. Bought in 2012 at 21st Street in Bethany. So
Nice.
Actually $10,000 appreciation there, but he's the guy that he'll put a syndicate together to buy a building, or he's got a building, and so he's mostly based in Denver, but that's what they did, is they took a portfolio like yours and 31 it into commercial.
Yeah.
And sometimes the rents are more so because you've got 5 or 10 year leases. If you sign a 5-year lease with a 5-year option, they're pretty much locked in, and not only that, it's there's increases built into that rent already. So it's not like you have to raise your rent on your tenant.
Right.
It's already 3% over the next year, over the next year, over the next year. Kind of built in stuff like that. So.
Cool. Just curious, what's your, I know you didn't want to talk about it, but what is your real estate business currently? What's your production?
So, our production, typically, last year we closed, I think, 70 homes.
Awesome. Wow,
So I think
you're still very high producing.
Yeah, we were right around 20 million, I think,
Wow,
production.
that's awesome.
So I
You're
know,
still doing well with
I know,
that.
I know you guys have people come in here that sell 10,000 homes a year, and you know,
Yeah,
100 like Greg, he's at 100 million or whatever.
Give or take.
Yeah, as you say. Against,
Sure.
Yeah. It was so awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, we do.
1 month wonder.
Yeah.
We do good, and you know, we love helping our clients. And like I said, it's a lot of past and repeat business and everything. And I'm at a point in my life I've been trying to make as much money as I could make, and now I have the rental passive income. My kids are getting older, you know, and I'm not wanting to wake up and grind, you know, every day. I'm trying to live more and enjoy life instead of, you know, just trying to make the next buck.
Okay.
Well, you probably got a name that's helping you out too, because
Yeah. It helps a little bit.
Doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah.
So you're doing so well. You're not taking on investors then. Have you had a little investor club or?
No, I mean, we do. I mean, we have some investors and stuff that we work with. You know, the hard part is, you know, when investment opportunities come around, it's, you know, I can't buy everything. So there are deals that I don't want to buy that, you know, that they pick up and stuff like that. But if there's a good opportunity, I'm going to try to buy it myself.
So your LLC is just 2 people in it, so
Yeah, me and
the 2 million.
Yeah.
So it's
so
now like 4 million.
yeah.
Thanks to you.
Well, they have like 10 properties here that I helped them buy. So funny story though, that investor I had, he actually had an agent in Scottsdale that was working with him. And, you know, I had met him at the open house, asked him if he wanted me to represent him. At that time, they were only paying agents 1%. So there was a lot of agents. Did I already say this? No?
No.
There was a lot of people that did not want to make only 1%. And we're seeing that today, right? I mean, there's some new builds that aren't even paying a commission. I know Lennar in the East Valley, they're not even paying a commission. You know, co-broke's going down. Some people are only offering 1%. But they were only offering 1%, but I thought, you know, I don't want to get out of real estate. I want to stay in here. I'm going to work for 1%. I helped him out and everything. He had an agent already, and she did not want to help him with short sales, foreclosures, you know, anything like that. And basically I was able to take him away from her because she wasn't willing to do that stuff. And, you know, based off of the flips that we've done, the transactions and referrals that he's given me, I've made over $1 million in commissions and stuff just from that one contact.
Very good.
You know, and you know, it was at the right place at the right time. We worked well together, and you know, but again, he was already working with somebody else at the time. You know,
Did you say at lunch that you have bought, or you bought for him one of her listings?
yeah. Well, so I still, you know, help him out, and you know, we run into each other in this one complex, and she's still selling homes and stuff, and then she sees a property or a contract come through with me representing him, and you know, that's probably hurts, I'm sure, but
Well, we talked about at lunch how Rebecca Durfee in her interview said that she'll help anybody. She wants to, whether it's $25,000 mobile home or whatever,
Yeah.
she's gonna help. And you just never know what else that could bring you. You heard a lot of stories of, you know, I started out with this one lousy deal, you know, it wasn't very much money or not a lot of commission. However, you know, fill in the blanks. What happened after that? You know, they knew somebody who knew somebody, or their parents came to town with $2 million or whatever. So,
I mean, and we still, I mean, we're not advertising that we'll help people find rental properties and stuff, but we've helped people get rentals that have turned into, you know, hey, my uncle needs to buy a house, or my parents want to sell their house. So, you know, treat everybody with respect. Everybody has a network of people. You know, it's all about building relationships for the long run, and, you know, that's what we've done.
Is it just that one mobile home deal you did? Or is it?
That's the only mobile we bought.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to buy more though.
Yeah.
Even like a mobile home park, you know, basically you own the land,
Yeah.
and you know, they just pay you lot rent. That's a good opportunity. Storage would be another good one. Everybody's buying stuff. I mean, I have like, you know, an Amazon box show up at my house like every day, a couple times a day sometimes. And people are always buying more stuff, so they're gonna need storage. But that'd be another another income source, having storage units. So
Tremendous opportunity. I love the gentleman back there who said just vacant land, right? And work trucks being parked in it.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about.
I mean, I've looked into it. It's a cash flow. You have to look at it as that. I don't know how many, but that's essentially kind of what they did after they. I mean, he had owned his father-in-law had the patent for a while on insulation blowing machines. And he sold insulation blowing machines across the country for back in the day. But they just invest as well.
Interesting.
What they were doing. They'll do a flip. I mean, they'll do if it's a deal, they'll look at it. But it was pretty funny because it's exactly the same thing with somebody that I helped to find a rental, and she said, "Oh, I have these 3 people that'll buy it for me," and one of those people knew this and that network grew out of that. But yeah, I mean, just a great resource. But I've ended up doing a couple $1 million worth of business for him. $1 million referral for a house in Desert Mountain. It's just you don't know where that deal is coming.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, they'll do anything. But the funny part about that is that his wife handles the money, right? And I didn't know that. And so our first deal was a short sale, and it was a couple months, and we're getting ready to close. And he goes, "Oh, you need to talk to my wife." So I call her, and she's like, "Yeah, can you send me the contract and everything?" Like, he had signed it. I need to send it to our attorney and da da da. She's like, "Yeah, anytime you need money, you gotta talk to me."
That's great.
And she's awesome. Like, he's the guy that's it's networked and all these things, but she handles the
I'm sure there's a story behind that.
I'm sure there is too, but I mean, yeah, it was like, we had gone to the meeting, we got their house in Denver, we happened to be there, and she was busy planning their daughter's wedding, so she, was barely a part of it. I had the budget of 2011, 12, something like that. It was a fine $65,000 house, and he gets the money, and it's like, oh yeah, Penny has to sign on. And you wouldn't know because their LLC is buried in, 2 different trusts, and you'll never find their name, right? So it was one of those things.
nice.
Never find their names, but it's there. So, but that's how it works, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You don't know who that other person is going to be.
Yeah, you never know. There's a story.
The same thing, the guys that I met. Where it's the same thing, they did with somebody in the East Valley and they wanted to buy, and that guy showed them all like $100,000 houses, $150,000 houses. And they had heard about these $50,000 houses on the west side. And this lady called and said, "Oh, my friend wants to buy 10 houses." Okay, yeah, whatever. And the guy called and it turned into 13 houses and 5,000, whatever.
Yep. You never know.
You don't know. And yeah, those RABC auctions. Go to Camelback and just bidding and just Camelback was out there. It was wild.
I'm glad you were part of it.
You wouldn't even know what you bought.
Right.
You barely had a chance to go look at it. It was just whatever it was, 5% auction fee.
Yep.
Yeah. And they sold them.
Yeah, we ended up being the winning bidder on 4 and only ended up having 2 go through. So the bank didn't even come back and counter or whatever and say hey, we don't like your offer, we want this. They basically just rejected our offer and we didn't buy it.
So, final question. What are your, it's a 2-part question. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. What are your immediate short-term goals like next 2 to 3 years and long-term, 10 to 20?
Well, I'd say short term, just get to at least 20,000 passive income and keep building up the income stream. I'd like to basically, like I said, just be doing investment properties and not really doing the day-to-day real estate stuff. And, if I want to go to Hawaii for 3 months, my wife and my family, I can do that and not be tied to my phone. Our phones, it's like you have your phone on you all the time and, you're always available and it can wear on you. It's hard to turn off real estate. Yeah. So
You really can. At least somebody in your team has to.
Right.
Do you foresee your parents taking the ball and running with it after you become more passive, or?
I mean, I think at some point, but we would need we need to hire a new team basically, because my dad's going to retire at the end of or maybe in January. He still works full time for the government, and my mom kind of is more active and stuff right now. But they are. I think they're turning 69 this year, so they're getting older, and I don't want to work them to death. I need some young people that want to work and hustle, So
Are you planning for that? I mean, you've got a very viable business, 75 transactions a year. You don't want to let that go away.
right, yeah, no, we're going to be doing that. At some point, it's just not there yet.
If you ever want to transition, you're looking for somebody to pass along.
You know somebody?
Talk about hustler. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
You think you'll ever retire?
You can adopt me.
That's the thing.
I don't mean retiring from the real estate sales business, but in other words, just be content playing golf and never doing anything again.
I don't think I could.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I'll always be doing something, but that's the thing with the fire community, like I talked about, is a lot of people have a crappy, cubicle job that they hate or whatever, and they want to quit that job and be a real estate investor or flip homes or do whatever. I'm already doing that, and it's in my line of work, so if I quit doing regular retail stuff, I'm an investor.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I left like a cubicle job would feel, you know what I mean? Like they would do a totally different thing where I'm still doing the same thing. So it feels different, I guess.
Well, and then you have the choice. That's the key,
Right.
right? It's like you can now decide you want to stay in Hawaii for a month.
Right.
You want to go to Munns Park or wherever.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
That's the key.
Yeah, so the goal is to be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want, just be able to do whatever you want without having to, answer your phone all the time.
Something holding you down.
Yeah.
What's it called? You said the fire?
Fire, yeah. So the podcast is called Choose FI. There's a couple different podcast episodes I can tell you. I think 100 is, number 100 is one. It's like Welcome to the FI community. And then there's another one I can send you called The Why of FI. So it's I like the philosophy of it. And but there's a lot of people. There's a guy named Mr. Money Mustache, if anybody's heard of him. And he retired basically, I think he was making like $30,000 a year, but he saved up a bunch of money and retired, and he's a young guy. So there's a lot of young people right now that are retiring at a younger age.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. A lot of people wait until they're 60, 65 to retire and then get sick or die. And I don't want to be in that position. No one knows how long you're going to live, obviously, but I think the sooner you can be financially independent and be able to do your own thing, the better.
Thank you. Love that.
Chris, would it be okay if Kyle sent you everything, and then people that want that information, you can just send it out yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Great, perfect. All right.
So,
Hopefully it was helpful, guys.
yeah,
I hate talking in front of people, but I wanted to share, and at least if I help, one person learn something, and I'm happy to help if anybody wants to call and you have questions on investing or anything like that. I'm happy to help. I talked to Eric Sanchez today. Actually, he called me on the way and was asking me questions, and I was telling him about the 75%, burst strategy and everything, and I said, hey, I'm doing the interview today in Goodyear. Are you coming? And he's like, no. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess you get access anyways because he's my property manager. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to help. Happy to share lender contacts or anything like that.
Thank you so much.
I thought you did great today and shared a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank
So
you.
let me ask you what your view is, being in the business, what your current trends or what you see in the future coming up right now. Like rent's going to continue to increase. When do you see the property drop?
I don't know. I mean, I was waiting for the property to drop when COVID hit and everything, but I mean, with supply being where it is right now, I mean, housing is a supply and demand issue, and we're not seeing the supply. I mean, the demand is a little higher than normal, but it's not what our problem is. It's supply right now. Yeah. And so until that changes, I don't see things happening, and I see rents continuing to go up too.
Yeah.
You know, inflation, like I said,
Inflation's up.
yeah.
Yes, people are moving into our area, Phoenix, more than leaving right now, so.
Yeah.
They are building around here, you know, our area. So.
Are you guys involved in Azaria? So Azaria, Arizona Real Estate Investor Association. It's a good club to get involved with. And, you know, they have monthly meetings. And they said that right now there's like 85,000 people that move to Arizona every year. And we only have 20,000 units under construction right now. So we're 60,000 plus units behind. And then, you know, when the crash happened, the builders essentially quit building for, it's kind of like they say, like a lost decade almost of new
Increase
construction.
cost and labor. So.
Yeah.
85K net
A year.
We lose some, right? So
Yeah, we lose some, but I think it's 85 net move here every year. And so people move here, I mean, from all the other crazier states are moving here. And then, you know, you have people that retire down here, second homes down here. So, and then we have a bigger industry right now than we did back in the last crash. It was mainly housing, and now we have tech and, you know, all kinds of stuff.
Finally.
Yeah.
So don't sell.
I'm not gonna right now, no. I almost did, honestly. I was calling around some of my other real estate friends, like, hey, what are you doing? You know, trying to find out what people are doing. And, you know, I decided not to do anything. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna not sell and keep what I have, and thank God I did, because like I said, you
It's
know.
your increase probably ever, right?
Yeah.
So it's you don't want to sell, but it's hard to buy too. So.
Yeah, it is hard to buy. I wish I could buy more right now.
You'll be able to soon. I bet within the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, and a lot of people, you know, wait on the sideline, you know, it's too high right now. But if you can buy and the numbers make sense, I mean, I don't think there's ever a bad time to buy real estate if you can cash flow your property.
Right.
You know, I mean, all the deals I bought, they weren't like perfect deals or anything, but, you know, over time, you know, time and the market will, you know, kind of erase any imperfections with the deal.
I guess it's not market timing; it's time in the market.
Yep.
Thank you. I can't believe you were worried about doing this. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.